What do you mean, scene versus sequel? My name is Gina. I am an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. When we are talking about plotting and structure and pacing of a novel, we will use these phrases in which we talk about a scene and a sequel. And those two words mean something entirely different in other contexts, so I can understand why this is confusing when I refer to them this. But a scene is the thing that you actually think that it means here. So this is a scene in which something happens in the novel. We push the story forward, or it is like a big action scene. So this is like the big fight scene, the big chase scene, the big romantic scene, the big grand gesture scene, right? So we have all these scenes of stuff that happens on the page. These are plot points, these are character pivot moments, these are big things that you can point to and say, that happened. But in between all of those big that happened sort of scenes, there are these moments, there are these pieces in which you feel like you are getting a little bit of a breather. If you think about it from this perspective of like a 300,000 word sci-fi thriller novel, you cannot be all fast-paced all the time. It gets exhausting for the reader. So instead you have like this big action chase scene, and then you have a quiet moment where the team regroups, or you have a quiet moment where she bandages up his wounds afterwards and they stare longingly into each other's eyes. And so we have this little bit of a feeling of respite, that it is a little bit of a break from the go, go, go action of the story. Now, those big plot points, here's the confusing thing. Those I actually think aren't what pushes the plot forward. Those are the things that happen, but then the character decisions actually happen in those quieter moments, in those sequels, in those breathers. That's where we gain new information. That is where we make decisions. That is where we grow closer to one another. That is where we feel betrayal. That is where we feel all of the big feelings. The big set pieces, the big plot points are the stuff that puts pressure on your character and forces them to act, or pushes them into acting, or gives them the motivation to act. But the actual decision to act and the actual forward momentum happens in those quieter moments. When you are plotting out your novel or diagnosing your novel, you might notice that you have more scenes than you have sequels, and that's okay. You're going to have more of these pieces that are identifiable as plot points, and then those little bits of respite are going to be fewer, and especially as we get into the resolution. So like that last bullet point, that resolution where it is like the climax and then the denouement after it, there might not be any sequels in there, because the denouement is the sequel. Like it's its own like plot point, but it is its own sequel to a certain degree. It is the respite, it is the settling into new normal.